Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Digital Confetti, where we share worthy strategies so that way you can create digital confetti with your content and spread it all across the internet so that way people know where to find you and your show. So I'm your host. I am Stephanie Liu. I'm the host of Digital Confetti, and thank you so much, Traffic, for coming by. I really appreciate it. They wanted to zoom in. So, hey, if you're here, go ahead and let me know where you're tuning in from. I would love to hear from you because today we are going to be talking about how to create animated GIFs for your live stream. See, the main purpose of the show is really teaching you how to create shareable content from your live stream. Because when you go live, you don't just let it sit there on the digital shelf. No, you take that content and you break it up into little itty bitty pieces that you can share with other people. That way they can find you and see just how amazing you are. And speaking of how amazing you are, let's go ahead and see who is here. Dean Reynolds. Oh my goodness. Stop the show. It is the Dean Reynolds. So wonderful to have you here, friend. I love it when you show up, especially on YouTube. Shout out to Tim Sohn. So wonderful to see you, my good friend. We even have Yee. We've got like the full house in here. And P.S., by the way, I've got an amazing, special person here for you today. Because I was like, if we're going to talk about GIFs, you cannot talk about GIFs without having the GIF queen here. She doesn't even know that I call her this, but I'm like, oh, she is absolutely amazing. Like her GIF game is like on a whole nother level. And so that is what we're going to be talking about today. So when we're talking about GIFs, let's first talk about the fact that why would you even want to use GIFs? Actually, let me back up a bit. Is it GIFs or is it GIFs? Let's just see who says it in the comments. I say GIF. Now, here's the thing. I sometimes with my friends, I speak in GIFs. In the comments on a Facebook comment or even in Instagram stories, I speak in GIF. I will give you a reaction, especially on Twitter. And again, like I said, my special friend who is just behind the curtain, she's got some amazing GIFs that actually, if I remember correctly, were picked up by a couple of celebs. Did that happen? I'm pretty sure that happened. Yeah. She's already nodding in the background like, yes, it did, because that's just how awesome she is. So shout out to the whole entire crew that is here. Welcome. And we have Mike Alton who says it's GIF with a hard G. Yes. See, there you go. And Yvonne who says that it's GIF, not GIF. If you haven't already realized, we have drawn a line in the sand amongst the actual audience. People are now deciding who their friends are going to be. So having said that, when we talk about GIFs, especially in GIF marketing for your show, there are so many benefits to it. It's the fact that GIFs add so much personality to who you are. Once your show ends, let people use those reactions, those emojis, all of that good stuff as GIFs. Let me give you an example of how I've actually used GIFs from the live stream, from even events and even conferences to help even launch a book. So let's go ahead and show you something that I've been working on, I would say over the past year or so. And I actually call this GIF-giving. GIF-giving. So what we have over here is all the different GIFs that I've created over the past year, and it's a ton of fun. So you'll notice things that I'll have like Luria Petrucci, right? We have the Mike Alton, who is the co-author of the book Ultimate Guide to Social Media Marketing. Now, there's so many different things here that when people are talking about your show, talking about a particular topic, imagine they just type your name and boom, all of a sudden you appear. That's the fun part of actually creating your own GIFs for your show. And yes, if you're wondering who that Slate Trooper is, that is totally me. Yeah, that's me. So there are things in here where once I'm done with the show, I do something that's called GIF-giving. If I have an amazing guest, I want to create a GIF for them. Because if I create shareable content, not only for my guest, I know that their audience is absolutely going to love it too. So there's Luria, there's Mike Alton, there's Amanda Robinson, a couple of other guests, Jen Herman, when we unboxed our book together. This was a lot of fun. One of my other favorite GIFs that I like to use is if if you're on an email list and you're not sure if people really, want to hang out and talk about live streaming, give them the option to unsubscribe. And I think this is like a really fun way to do that because you're like, well, why would you want to unsubscribe when you have a really, really fun gift like that, right? And shout out to Mary Fane Brandt, who is here, because I have a couple of surprises for you as well. Now, when it comes to creating these GIFs, like I said, it doesn't only have to be from your live stream. It can be from conferences that you've been on. This one is my favorite of Jennifer Watson. She probably doesn't even realize this, but I just put her on blast. This was at Social Media Day San Diego, and anytime I see this bright, lovely face on social media, I can't help but want to share this with her. The other fun thing about this is that I love to use TikTok. Are any of you on TikTok? I'm on TikTok, and I absolutely love the GIFs that they have there. And so this was like a really fun one that I put together. I just did this for my friends and I didn't realize how popular it was going to be. But I get probably weekly notifications on my phone from Tenor saying, hey, your GIF has officially been shared 188,000 times. Did that help with promoting the show? Heck yeah, it did. So I want you to get really creative for how you can use your GIFs for promoting your show, whether it's going to be in emails or in social media comments. And if you have your own GIFs, let me know in the comments. Let me know how to find you, because majority of mine are actually on Tenor. In fact, if you are watching on Facebook, if you hit the GIF icon and you type in Stephanie Liu, one word, Stephanie Liu, then you'll be able to see all of the GIFs that I've actually created. And so for those of you who don't know how to spell my name, it's Stephanie Liu, all one word, and then you'll all find it there. Okay, so I'm going to check out the comments real quick just to see. Oh, Activate LA, you are here. I'm super excited to have you here. His question is, how can I make a clear GIF? This is something that I've actually done in other shows where I've had, here, let me show it to you. This is a fun one. What you're saying is, how do I make like a clear GIF? Let me show this real quick. This one right here, I did this with the green screen. And so I had like the math numbers kind of floating around. And so the numbers are floating around, and then I just used the chroma key to blank it out. And then I recorded myself in Ecamm and then uploaded it as a GIF. And so whenever someone is trying to explain something to me, I'm like, what? What are you trying to do right there? Makes it really good. All right. So having said that, what I want to do is I don't want to keep my guest waiting too long, because she is an amazing, amazing human being. And I want to bring her on here because she is one of those people, like, her GIF game is strong. And when I say her GIF game is strong, she literally blocks out like days to say, oh, it is now the season of winter or spring, summer, fall. And she batch creates these GIFs. And so having said that, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to my good friend, Christine Gritmon. Christine, are you ready? Yes, she is. She's born ready. Hey, girl. Hi.
Hey. Hello.
How are you, friend? I'm doing good. Everyone, absolutely. If you haven't heard of Christine Gritmon, she has a wonderful show that you just had this morning with our good friend Winnie's son, right? How did that go?
Oh my goodness, it was fabulous. And we were talking about you, not only like on the show, but also before the show. We were talking about you, Stephanie. So I think your ears were buzzing.
Well, it's one of those things, like when you're live streaming, and when you could live stream on multiple places with things like Restream.io, then you could build that community and you could find them. And so when I saw you pop up, I was like, oh, it's two of the most amazing people there. Yay. So let's talk about your GIF creating strategy. Like, why did you decide that you wanted to go ahead and create GIFs for your marketing? When were you like, hey, now is the time to do it?
So it's really funny because originally I didn't even think of it as a marketing or branding thing. Originally, it was just that I found myself using a lot of GIFs, especially on Twitter, because it added more personality to anything I could possibly comment. And it made people laugh. And it was kind of a branding tool, even though it wasn't my brand, just because it gave a sense of my personality. And I discovered there were certain GIFs I kept using over and over. And the thing that really tipped me over the gifting point was when I actually read some people starting to talk about digital blackface. And what that means is a lot of people, there's a lot of GIFs, especially of African-American women that are frequently used on Twitter to sort of convey like sassy or whatever. It like plays into stereotypes. And people were saying, okay, white people, stop it. We are not your cultural shorthand for whatever you want to express. Express things yourself. And I was like, I'm going to literally express things myself. If I feel like being sassy, I can be freaking sassy.
Yeah.
You know, if I feel like being dubious, I can be dubious. If I feel like expressing something, why don't I just look at the GIFs I keep using, no matter who they're from, the things that I want to express, and why don't I just find a way to express them myself? So it started with a handful of them that I made years ago. My first batch, it's funny, my first batch, you can tell when I pull out a really old one because the lighting is crap. My hair is much longer and much redder. I don't use the super old ones very much, but that was a few years ago. And it was several years later before I really got known for GIFs when I made my next batch and got really serious about it. And now I have a running document on my phone, a running note stock all the time where I'm like, oh, I should have a GIF for that. Yeah.
I love that. And I love that you brought out the cultural shorthand, because that was something that I kind of noticed too, is that whenever I wanted to react to something, I was like, why don't I just do one of myself? Right.
Yeah.
I could probably, I mean, I'm already doing video. I'm already live streaming. It's just a matter of recreating it the way that I want to. And you're so smart with your branding for your GIFs, because you have this signature sexy red background and it just pops. When you think about, you know, when you're scrolling through like the news feed, it's like white background, you know, dark background, but then you have like this sassy red. I'm like, bam, there she is. Let's get a little Christine Gritmon in your life. And so tell us a little bit about how you batch this content. So you talked a little bit about having your notes, and you're like, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. Do you change outfits in between? Are you wearing the same thing? Like, tell us your secrets.
So the way I've done it so far, and it's funny because I'm actively thinking about this now, because now that my GIFs are a thing and they've become a branding tool, I need to go back and I'm going to actually, in a couple weeks, going to be refilming all of them. I'm going to like set aside a crazy amount of time for this, because this, which by the way is a cheap IKEA curtain on a clothing rod, it's nothing fancy. It's not Christine Gritmon red. It's not hex code CC0000.
Oh,
and it needs to be. So when I reshoot, I'm not using this. I'm using, oh, well, you can't really see it behind. I'm using that sucker, which is brand new. I'm going to be going green screen with it so that I can actually key in my real color. I'm going to do some sort of, why can't I think of the word? Watermark. Some sort of watermark with some sort of branding on it, because my GIFs have gotten crazy traction and no one has any idea who I am. So I'm gonna rebrand them. But the way I do it, the way I have done it, is my little notes list of the sentiments I want to express and the stuff that I want to make a GIF of. I have a separate list at the bottom that's props I'll need if I need props. Not everything needs props. A lot of things don't. But like one of my favorite ones is where I'm throwing confetti. So I needed confetti. You know,
I need a confetti one for sure.
Yeah, I've got that totes one right there with my Reading Rainbow tote bag and my iconic Strand Bookstore New York City tote bag. I don't have an NPR tote bag, sorry. So I was like, you know, I need props for these things. And so that's a separate list so that I have my props together. And then I just sit there and the camera's rolling. And I just roll through them one by one. I do a few takes of some of them, but it's basically pantomime acting. It's, you know, just expressing it. And I just do a whole big video file. Then later I chop it up into bits. Then I export those as individual little files and upload them to GIPHY and add, you know, words or whatever if necessary. And for several shoots, I've had my husband as my prop master. So he's helped me like bring this stuff up, and I've been in full diva mode. I've been like, hand me that. No, that. No, that. No, get that out of here. It's, I'm going to be much nicer for the reshoot. I'm like, give me that. I'm like, oh, the cupcake icing is melting. I got to shoot that one faster. Light the candle. You know, it's.
Yes. And we do have to give a shout out to Chad Laney Smith, who kind of, I would say, like really kind of started this for all of us.
Oh, wow.
And it was at Social Media Week Lima. He had like his smartphone on a gimbal, and he was just recording the entire time. And then with the app, he was making GIFs in real time. And then as we were sharing on social media about us being in Lima, all the gifts started to happen. This is what I was like, this is gift giving. It's things that people will always remember you for. And when you do this for a guest, they're like, I will happily repurpose this content, and sprinkle it everywhere. Absolutely.
I have two I need to start doing what you do, which is to take GIFs from my live stream show and make little moments into GIFs. But I have two that I did that with. One of them is I had Amy Tischler and Caitlin Jenkins together on my show. And I didn't realize until we went live that I had them lined up wrong with their names. And so then while we were live, I played with reshuffling. And so I made a GIF of all of that ridiculous shuffling. And then I have another one that I use constantly. Chris Brogan was on my show. And I don't know how it came up. In our conversation beforehand, we mentioned cheese. There was some joke about if there'll be cheese there. So I brought up a big block of cheddar cheese, and I just had it sitting here off camera. And at one point when he was talking about something, I just very casually brought it up and started chomping on it. And of course, when he noticed that, he cracked up. So even now, when I'm just chatting with Chris on Twitter, if there's any opportunity for me to use that cheese GIF in our conversation,
you're all about it. Yeah,
in there.
I remember when you had the 360 marketing squad on your show too. Let's talk about brand. The way that we promoted the show was just and here's a GIF of Mike Alton, Jen Herman, Amanda Robinson, and again, it's just people are like, oh, this is going to be fun, because before the show even starts, right? Most people, when they promote their show, here's a graphic. But when you have a moving image in your newsfeed that you're scrolling through, you're like, who is this amazing personality that I need to hang out with? I need to have some Christine Gritmon in my life. And speaking of which, we have to give another shout out to a really good friend of ours. This name popped up in the comments. Who would you say is also killing it with her GIFs?
Is it the Bot Queen?
You got it right. So we gotta give her some love. Oh, baby got bot. What? 6222 in the house. Kelly Noble Mirabella. And this is really fun because she is the undisputed champ when it comes to chatbot marketing. And she is all about creating content. And look at how she has her different style. You've seen mine, you've seen Christine's. Now look at Kelly's. Look at the amazing background that she has. She used different colors, and it's all branded here. I would say, I don't know why it doesn't show up here, but there's the one that she has with the paper bag where she's kind of hyper.
She's breathing in. She's like, hold on. Iconic. I've used that one.
Yeah. And it's fun when you can use your friends' content, because if you can lift up other people and the content that they're creating, then it just makes it so much fun. So what do you use when you are creating your GIFs?
So what I do is, I film them in just what I have. I use Ecamm on record mode just because that's what I use to film things. Then my editing, I have Final Cut Pro, so I use that. But you can use something as simple as the free version of iMovie, anything that'll just chop a long video into short pieces. And I export them one by one, and then I upload them to GIPHY. And in fact, I should talk to you about, what is it, Tenor?
Yeah,
I should check that out too. But yeah, I went with GIPHY. And it's funny because at first, they were just on GIPHY, and I actually downloaded them once I had made the GIF on GIPHY and put the images over, put whatever over it. I'd then download them both onto my computer and also onto my phone so that I had them. Yeah. Because I wasn't searchable yet. But then I did get approved as a GIPHY brand account, which took a little while. I got rejected at first because they're very, very specific. Your domain name and your usernames and your email, all of that has to match. And I have Christine Gritmon Inc. and C. Gritmon and Gritmon.com. they're clearly the same, but a machine looking at them would see that they don't match. So I basically wrote to support. I'm like, hey, I'm clearly the same me. Can you approve me? And they did. And so now I'm in search, which means another thing I'm going to do as part of my huge overhaul of my GIFs is really focus on my metadata a little bit better, because that's what helps with the searchability. And I'm constantly frustrated that there's a GIF I want to use and I can't find it in search. So I'll literally still go to giphy.com and grab it and download it and just post it up.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
so that's actually
find it.
that's actually an interesting conversation. So the reason why I use Tenor, this is why I'm so happy that you're here. The reason why I use Tenor is because when I upload it to Tenor, it's active within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And the way that I set this up, so for those of you that want to create your own GIFs, even for your guest, the way that I do it is I use their first name and their last name, all one word. Thank you, Chad. And then anything that's also relatable to it. So something like wow or OMG, just to get I would kind of liken it to Jen Herman's Instagram hashtag strategy, where you go for like the broad term and then you niche down into the specifics.
Yeah.
But that's really helped me for all of that stuff.
Absolutely. All of mine, I can get there with Gritmon. Gritmon, I can pretty much always do it. But first of all, on Facebook, it only shows the first like 10, 15, I don't even know. So it's not all of them. Twitter's a little better. But then when I do the more specific terms, sometimes I've been good and put it into the metadata already on Giphy. Sometimes it turns out that I didn't. And so I need to go back and really look at that. And sometimes, okay, so people, since I became searchable, people are constantly writing to me and saying, oh my God, I saw your GIF in this conversation I was part of. People from all over the world. Like one of my cousins in Ireland was like, this was on a local mom board. This is you, right?
Yeah, that's so funny.
Like they're finding it, but half the time I can't even find the same GIF. I'm like, people are finding it somehow.
They're finding it somehow. Yeah, that's one of the ones where the one of me on TikTok where I'm saying OMG, OMG, where I just pop up like a little meerkat. Yeah. I'm like, who is using this? Because I literally just did that for friends, and I'm like, I don't know where this is.
I apparently have, I'm looking at my Giphy dashboard. I apparently have 20.6 million views of my GIFs, which is a little bit, insert mind blown GIF here. It's crazy. And people have said to me, they're like, well, you're refilming your GIFs. Are you going to lose all that data? But here's the thing, I don't care. Like, I'm kind of okay with that because it's not like it's linking back to business for me. But it's cool that I do get to see this dashboard to see which ones are being used the most. Yeah. And I can also make stickers. That's going to be my next thing. I'd love to be able to use my own stickers on Instagram stories. And you can design those. And if you're a brand account, they'll just be searchable on Instagram stories. So that's coming in 2021. That's going to be one of my like Christmas time projects. That's
fun. And so for those of you who don't know, both Christine and I are in the social media marketing industry. So in addition to live streaming, right, we're also social media marketers. And so did you ever create a content strategy for your clients in saying, hey, we're going to create GIFs? Have you done that?
We haven't yet, but that's about to happen. That's about to happen because previously I mostly just worked with like little mom and pop businesses, and that would have been just kind of a level too much for a lot of them. I had one client last year who she was an architectural design firm specializing in healthcare spaces. And she said, I love your GIFs. Can we make GIFs? And I'm like, it's not really on brand. Like she was a very serious woman and her clients were like huge healthcare conglomerates and it just didn't fit with her brand vibe. So instead stories as adding some color and personality. She didn't seem very gifable, but I think 2 clients where I've started working more with marketers than I used to. I've started, now that I've moved more into the personal branding space, I'm working with fellow marketers who know what they're doing for other people, but don't know how to promote themselves. And some of those people are going to be gifting.
So they're going to be gifting.
They're gonna be.
We should have a gift challenge. Yes. And speaking of which, the Kelly Noble Marabella just graced us with her presence. Woo-hoo! She was saying, like, if you want to check out my gifts, you got to put Stellar 24/7. And so, this is our girl. She's amazing.
Are they
The
also
one,
searchable via Baby Got Bot? Because they should be. Like when I think of Kelly, I know she's been stellar media marketing for years, and she's got the star thing. But when I think Kelly, my brain first goes to Baby Got Bot. Gotta say.
yeah, no, she's amazing. She definitely has a lot of fun. So like maybe I could go ahead and bring her in on this, but maybe that might be too many. But yeah, for those of you that haven't dabbled into creating your own GIFs, I would love to know like what's stopping you? Why not? I would say kind of like what you were alluding to earlier, Christine, about like people being GIFable.
Yeah.
Some people worry about the idea of, well, what happens if I'm a GIF? What if they use it in a context that I don't approve of?
And I've had that.
Yeah. Can you talk about your experience without too much?
I'll skip to the end of it, which is that I don't care. But to back up, so a couple times I have been used in interesting contexts. One of the first times that someone who's never heard of me that I saw used my GIF was there was some conservative politician who had done this screed against WAP, that lovely hit song and video. And he was talking about how offensive he found it. So then this was a video from Barstool Sports, which itself has a questionable reputation, where they were making fun of this guy. And so they used my kind of sort of a pearl clutching GIF, which, by the way, in my new shoot, I'm going to have one where I'm clutching pearls because that's the context in which that GIF has been used. Might as well throw some actual pearls in there as a prop. But so me with the pearl clutching, as this conservative politician was talking about WAP, was one of my first high-profile GIF placements. Another one was during one of Trump's rallies. I think it was a televised rally that was the same night as something having to do with Biden was on TV. So he had this televised rally, and there was a woman behind him in a red mask, and she was very prominently, on camera behind him with her red face mask on, and she was just like so psyched about everything he had to say. And I have a few GIFs with myself wearing a red face mask. It's too people to use a mask. And Kirstie Alley, very famous actress, Look Who's Talking, Cheers, all sorts of things. She used it on Twitter. She tweeted out that GIF of me in the red mask, because she thought that the woman in the red mask who loved Trump was awesome. And I don't love him so much. So that was, not really something that I represent, but I still thought it was cool. I'm like, no one is thinking, because here's the thing. No one's thinking that because I'm in the GIF, it means that I'm authorizing what she says. Nobody is thinking that. Like, even if my name is on it, nobody is going to think that I recorded that for purposes of Kirstie Alley's tweet. It's a GIF. I mean, it's like someone Googled something. So that's why I don't care. Even once my name is on them, once I redo my GIFs, I don't really care much who uses them because I don't think people think that someone finding my GIF in search means that I authorize what they're saying. So I'm not.
That's actually a really interesting conversation because I do find myself across the table with clients who are like, well, what if they use it in context that I don't approve of? And it's like, well, you kind of lose control of that, especially on social media. There's not so much that you can do. But I do love how people get creative with GIFs, right? So we've talked about using GIFs in stories, in your emails, in your Twitter threads. One of my favorites that I saw was when Kelly Noble Mirabella, again, in Social Media Week Lima. Lima is like you guys, if you're ever looking for a conference, who knows if it'll be in person. But Jessica Phillips puts on this amazing event, Social Media Week Lima, and Kelly Noble Mirabella hit the stage, and her whole entire presentation was GIFs. That was like the best thing ever.
Brian Fanzo at Social Media Marketing World, I think 19. It wasn't his whole presentation, but he punctuated in between points. He punctuated with 90s GIFs. It was like 90s pop culture. There was like some Full House GIFs in there. That was one of the first presentations that I ever saw. No, that must have been 18. That must have been 2018 because it was one of the first presentations I remember seeing that really used GIFs. And this was before I was a GIF girl. But I was just like, he was able to talk about cultural shorthand. He was able to effectively use that cultural shorthand because, kind of early 90s feel was a big part of his branding back then. And so being able to use those things like Saved by the Bell, all of that stuff in his presentation, it just sort of automatically made the audience feel a familiarity. It sort of warmed them up in a nice way and broke them open in a nice way to hear what he was saying. And I thought that that was just brilliant.
Love it. Awesome. Awesome. So thank you so much, Christine, for hopping onto the show. I wanted to rope you in here because, like, if I'm going to be talking about gifts, you got to have Christine Gritmon here. Next time we'll have to bring on Kelly Nova Marabella because I know she does the same thing like you, where it's just a matter of like, you block out a day, figure out your props. If that's anything I've learned from Christine Gritmon today is that she has props. Like, do you keep them in a bin? Like, what do you do with them?
I'm gonna have to bring in this little lady to one of my GIFs. Maybe I'll sing into her like a microphone. Maybe we'll chat.
Oh, yes. Wait, I have mine too. One second.
Speaking of social media week, Lima, that's where we got these. I recently did an entire Friends live stream as her, which is very fun. Hey, friend.
Hey, friend. How are you? Are we going to have gifts of us? Yes, we totally, absolutely should.
Totally. You know what? I'll probably go back to that live stream I did with entirely her. It was someone else's live stream. It was Chad's live stream, actually. I think I'll go and make gifts from Chad's live stream of my bobblehead.
There you
Claim
go.
them as my own.
Chad is absolutely amazing. All right, Christine, thank you so much for your time. We'll have to catch up with you later.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care. Can you actually let people know when your show airs so that way they could go ahead and find you?
Yes. So my show, which Stephanie's been on a few times. Well, you were on my old show, Social. My new show, same bat time, noon Eastern time on Fridays. I talk about brand. It's called Let's Talk About Brand. And I have awesome people come on and talk about different elements of personal branding. And that's on my Christine Gritmon Inc. Facebook page. It's now on the, I forget what it's called. Oops. Some new the new Facebook page that Mike gave us access to. And I'm also starting to simulcast it on Twitter and Periscope because my Twitter peeps, I just love them. I don't want to have to make the move. So,
streaming. See, actually, that brings us to a really good point. That's why I love Restream, because some people like to hang out on YouTube. Like, that's just their spot. Like, that's where Dean is. That's where Caleb is. That's where they hang out. And I love that Restream.io. Like,
I'm using Restream for it also. Restream Cam. It's our jam.
Mm-hmm. Boom. That's how you do it. All right, friend. I will catch up with you later. Take care. Be good. All right, everyone. So we're talking today about creating animated GIFs, fun GIFs. That way you could go ahead and promote your show. Now, what I'm going to show you is, someone was asking earlier, like, what program are you using whenever you're creating these GIFs? And so the one that I use, first off, is going to be the GIPHY capture app. So let me pull this up for you real quickly. I kind of gave you a sneak peek earlier, but it's something that I actually download over to my computer. And whenever I'm done with the live show, I just load up. I just pretty much open up the app itself. And then there's certain time stamps where I remember, like, oh, hey, I was hanging out with the Live Streaming Pros crew this morning with Luria Petrucci, and I know that we were dancing in the beginning. I could basically go ahead and use this. So let me share this with you real quickly. And P.S., by the way, for those of you who are like, I just need to find the time. Seriously, friends, go hire a VA. Go find someone on Upwork who can do this for you, and then you'll have a lot of fun with it. So let's go and get this over there. So this is the GIPHY capture. And this is something that I've actually downloaded to my computer, the GIF Maker on Mac. And it's amazing in the sense that I could just highlight a certain part of a show. And then, to Christine's point, I can go ahead and put like the different text overlays if I want to have text overlays, metadata, all of that good stuff. So speaking of which, let's actually go over to Live Streaming Pros, because what the heck, we were just hanging out there this morning. And if I wanted to do this, let's go ahead and stop screen sharing this. We're going to find that page. And if you guys are still here in the comments, let me know. I would love, I would love to see you, friends. Okay. So let's see. Okay. we are going to, I'm going to share my desktop, and then you'll see like everything that's happening on here. And we'll make that big, and we'll make this bigger over here. Whoa. Okay, that's going to be meta. Move this over here. And this is how it works. This that's moving around, that is my GIPHY capture. And so what I'll do is I'll find a point. Let's see, this is where she and I were dancing. You can resize this to where it is that you want to be. And once you do that, let's see, let's have this playing. Okay. And then, so once it's starting to play, then you just hit that, and then you now have it over here. For some odd reason, it's not playing the video, but what I'll do is I will open the recent one that I did with Luria. So this is us. I want to move this over here. I want to see if I could just share the app with you instead. This is perfect. Okay, turn this on. Luria doesn't even know this. So if you find, Luria, if you're watching, you're probably going to be like, what are you doing, Steph? Okay. So here's the thing. This is when Luria and I were hanging out. And the fun thing with this is that I could move this slider to where I want it to be, but we were dancing probably towards the end because we're streaming sisters. Hashtag streaming sisters for those of you who don't know. The fun thing about this is that you could change the loop type to normal, reverse, ping pong. And you could even change the pixel size. So 640, 480, or 320. Then you have your frame rate, standard, HD, high, or low. I usually pretty much keep it standard and then normal. Now this is the part where we were talking about like you can add captions. So if we wanted to add captions, we could go in here and say, streaming sisters, for those of you that were there this morning. Right? We could put this up here any which way that we want. Change the color, change the default style, and then the size as well. The animation, you can have it fade in. You can do all of this fun stuff, right? Because we already have like content on here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove streaming sisters because here's Luria and I, right? So once this is done, you could automatically upload it to GIPHY. And when you do that, again, you just want to make sure that you're making your data pretty much searchable. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk through this example with you, and we'll just say LP. We'll put it on the downloads folder for now. Again, this is literally something that you can just have your VA do, and it'll make it a ton of fun. Brian Schulman is here. So if you don't know, we've got some good ones of him too. We all went to VidCon together. We went to VidCon, Brian Schulman, Rob Balasabas, and we just went to town taking that footage and really just uploading it. And anytime you type in, I think VidCon, I think you'd probably see us in there. All right, so let me share the screen with you real quick. Close this out. And we're going to go here. Make this really easy. Make that up there. Okay. So what we're going to do is take that GIF that I just created and walk you through this process. Now, if you have any questions, let me know. But right now, I'm just going to drag and drop this over. And there it is. Okay. So notice how it's going to say on Tenor. Again, I usually do my stuff on Tenor simply because it will show up searchable within 24 hours and I could instantly like surprise my guest. So in here, I would put things like Gloria Petrucci, her full name, right? I would add in my name, Stephanie Liu, one word. And then for us, I mean, the best way to describe this is probably going to be happy dance. Happy dance. And when you're ready, just upload it to Tenor and then you're good to go. Two Solario is asking a question. He is saying, is this an app for Restream only? Is this an app for Restream only? Restream allows you to live stream on multiple platforms. If you're asking about GIPHY capture is for Mac only. As far as I understand, I think there is an app on your phone that you can use as well. and create GIFs from there too. And then Tenor is what I generally use. And the reason for that is because when I create these GIFs, if it doesn't show up on Facebook or on Instagram stories, there's a Tenor keyboard app that I can use and then automatically add it in there myself because it's just much faster. Yes, Caleb. See, Caleb came in for the win. He's like, it's not associated with Restream. It's two different services. Two different services. Restream is your live streaming solution to be live on multiple platforms. GIPHY capture is mostly just about the GIF in and of itself. Now, one thing that I mentioned earlier, and I kind of glossed over for you, was the fact that we used GIFs for marketing our new book, The Ultimate Guide to Social Media, published by Entrepreneur Press. So Entrepreneur Crew, nice to see you. And what was really fun about it is that when you're launching a product or a service or even a book, you want to have creative assets. And so because we did a show about the book, about the actual unboxing of it, we were like 4 people on a screen. And what I did is with the GIPHY capture, I just captured every single one of us. And from that one live broadcast, we had GIFs of myself, Mike Alton. This is probably my favorite. Yes, it's GIPHY. Yeah, GIPHY. And then again, for my purposes, when repurposing content, I upload them over to Tenor and it makes it fun. Shout out to Chris, who is saying that this is such a great idea. Instant value. Thanks for sharing. Yes, it's so much fun when you could just hop into the comments and add value and bring it back to life. There are certain things too. If you want to promote your show, ask people, choose your favorite GIF from the show, and then they'll create gift-giving for you. So there's all of these here. This one, like I said before, is my favorite. For those of you that use a green screen, I went on YouTube and I found a royalty-free version of the numbers floating. And then I just chroma keyed out the green screen, played it in Ecamm, recorded it, and then uploaded over to Tenor. So those are some fun things that you can do. And yes, Giphy Cam is an app for iPhone. Thank you, Leanne. Appreciate you swooping in there. All right. Other ideas. What questions do you have when it comes to creating GIFs? What questions, concerns do you have? This is another one that Christine and I were just talking about, using using props. Props are always going to be fun. And I don't know about you, Christine, but I was definitely one of those people where I would go to Target and I would just go down like the aisle, like, oh, and I could use this and I could use this. And then if I didn't want it in the house anymore, I just returned it. Yes, Jason, the versatility for this is so much fun. If you're going to do this, I love the fact that Christine kept it pretty much consistent. Red mask, black shirt, red background. For me, I change different outfits because I want to do that, especially for those of you that was watching Live Streaming Pros earlier today. Yes, so I create the GIF in Giphy and then I upload it to Tenor, only because I find that I could get it in Tenor in the keyboard within 24 hours. Giphy takes a little bit longer for me. And usually when I'm coming down from a show, I'm excited. I want to surprise my guest and say like, hey, look how many episodes I have of you. Here's another one for those of you that like to use a green screen. Green screen. Oh, this is a combination of a green screen and a Snapchat filter. So I'm kind of like pushing you beyond live streaming now. If you do live stream, you could live stream with a green screen and then use the Snapchat filter and then make this fun stuff here. Caleb, you're amazing. Caleb is saying, displays a lot of personality to the audience. And then Lynette is asking, just wondering how you use it on a live stream, unless I misunderstood. You could, if you wanted to use a GIF in a live stream, it's possible. It just depends on how you want to do it. Like, for example, the one with the math that was happening all over, the math numbers, that's a GIF. And then I added that in as an animated GIF layer in Ecamm. I know this is getting like super duper nerdy, but that's totally a possibility of when you can do that. Yes, see, Christine came in with a win. She says, I have GIFs I pop onto my live stream as an overlay. So that's another added way that you can do this. It's another thing too, like honestly, if I wanted to, I could have like Christine's GIF like pop up. I could have a reaction GIF of Christine just pop up, and I think that would totally be fun. All right, what else can I share with you? Things at events. If you're speaking at a conference, maybe you want to display like, hey, I speak at events. Show people what it is that you do, right? What you're capable of doing. So this is a really good friend of mine, Rob Balasabas. We did an interview over at Social Media Marketing World. And anytime that we mention Rob Balasabas, that's totally what we do. This is when Agora Pulse, brand love. They gave like a branded sweater. Restream's got some amazing super soft sweaters too. I wonder if they have a merch shop. Yes, Lynette says that she got it. She understands now. Yeah, so Lynette, if you give it a shot, let us know. Tag us. We're all about gift giving. Like this is a thing. I know that some people are doing Vlogmas, but I'm all about gift giving. If I could just blow up the gifts, then it makes it totally fun. Here's some other ones for you. This is a good one. I would say a default, like, show me that you're excited. That's always a fun one to have. Notice that, like for mine, I generally don't have any text on it because I'd rather have the person interpret what it is that they want to use. For Spirit Throw Me a Bone, the question is animated overlay. Yes, if you're using Ecamm, then you would use the animated overlay. So I just drag in like the GIF over and then it works perfectly. Kelly says she's doing Vlogmas, but I love the idea of gift giving. Yeah, I would really love to do a gift giving challenge. Just kind of like what Christine is doing, where it's like it's seasonality. So it's winter right now. What are some fun winter things that we could do? Because people are so used to seeing the same gifts. So let's do gift giving. Let's give them something different that they can use. This one has got to be my favorite. I obviously love to troll my friends. Mike Alton. Kelly Noble Marabella says that she is in. So again, if you ever want to follow her, she does some really amazing stuff. Follow Stellar247 on GIPHY. She has some really fun ones there for you. Brian Shulman, since you're here in the show, we were over at VidCon. That's another good one that you can use. So again, friends, it doesn't necessarily have to be celebrities or actors and all of that other stuff that create their own GIFs. Create your own. This I actually created from Comic-Con. For those of you that have ever been to Comic-Con, I went to Comic-Con and they had like these little booths where you could have fun. They turned me basically into a Super Saiyan. Know what I'm saying? And it was really good to have that there. All right, friends. So that is it for how to create animated GIFs for your live stream. Pretty much in a nutshell, all you really need is going to be the GIPHY capture. You could upload it directly to GIPHY when you create your own channel. As Christine mentioned, it might take a little while to get your channel approved, which is why I go the other route. I actually go over to Tenor, tenor.com. Let me put that down in here for you. So tenor.com, they also have the Tenor GIF keyboard. That makes it a lot easier for me to send things in Facebook messages, Instagram stories, because it will absolutely just pop up. But again, you could find the Giphy.com Giphy capture for the desktop app. Again, it's only for Mac. If you don't have time to do this yourself, give it to someone else. Give it to an intern, a VA, someone on Upwork, Fiverr. They could do this for you. Think about gift giving in that sense. So while we start to wind down, I want to see what other questions that we have. Jason says you should do it, Stephanie Lou, gift giving challenge. Okay, let's do that. I want to see if any of you create your own gifts after this. Can you just tag me and show it to me? Because I would absolutely love that. Let's start it off with, if you're uploading stuff, let's use the hashtag gift giving, because then I could see everyone's. I could see everyone's gift giving gifts. when you do this. So maybe you'll have like a present and you'll just unbox it. I think that would be cool. In fact, Jason, here's a good idea. We're going to get really creative. If you had a box and it was painted green or covered like in green wrapping paper, and then you put that box inside a present, right? And then you're doing your GIF and you open up the box and you pick up the green box you could pretty much overlay with whatever it is that you want. That's going to be a fun challenge. I would love to see if somebody could actually do that. Let's see. Leanne, I make a GIF of myself and send them to a new LinkedIn connection. Look at that. See, that's clever. I love the way that you use GIFs. I love your thinking, because even today, like, we have to think beyond just how do we build relationships with our viewers? How do we build relationships with our clients? And I think if you're going to be creating a GIF that makes them laugh, you get those happy brain chemicals, and they definitely want to be a part of that. All right, Kelly Nova Mirabella. Yes, gift giving, hashtag gift giving. I want to see it. I want to see what you create. Christine Gritmon is giving a shout out to Leanne that the LinkedIn idea is adorable. Becky says that I wish I had a GIF of when I showed my kids how to make snow angels for the very first time. Hey, you know what? Recreate it. I don't know if you've seen the ones where they would have, do you remember when new moms would have their babies and they would have like a whiteboard that would say like 8 months old, this is my favorite food, yada, yada, yada. Well, then the adults started to do a parody of it. And they're like, I'm 37 years old. I love rosé and I love K-dramas. And it was a really cute thing. Go ahead. Go for it. Have fun with it. All right, friends. Thank you so much for hanging out at Digital Confetti. This is where you get to learn share-worthy strategies to break up your live stream content and spread it across the internet like digital confetti. That way people can find out how amazing you are. And so if you're interested in learning more about Restream, check out Restream/Hey Stephanie. And if you want to be notified every time Digital Confetti is live, just do this. Head on over to lightscamera.live/DC and then subscribe to the calendar, because in that way, we can block out time for you and I to hang out together, because I go live every other Friday. All right, friends, thank you so much, and I will talk to you later. Thank you. Bye, everyone.